Relations here at the Space Foundation. And I am joined today with Elias Mullen, who is the manager of Space Education. So thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
So tomorrow is Earth Day. We think that every day is Earth Day here at the Space Foundation, but we want to share some great information we have for you today about our home planet, as you can see behind us here, Earth. So today we're going to do some comparisons of our planet to all of the other ones that we've been talking about. So we've been doing these lives for a few weeks now, and this is going to just bring it all full circle. How does our planet compare? What makes our planet amazing? We're also going to talk about how to take care of our planet a little bit, and then we've got some great questions from you, as we always do. So we want to go ahead and get started. Elias, can you tell us a little bit about how our planet compares to all the other ones that we've talked about?
Sure, I'd love to. So it sounds like you guys have been joining Colleen with some other Facebook Live events where you guys have been talking about some of the other planets. And we're going to do just a little bit of a review on these planets. One planet that you guys talked about was a planet called Venus. And just as a reminder, Venus, very, very hot. Its atmosphere is 60 times thicker than the Earth's atmosphere. And that allows the Venus to trap a lot of the heat coming from the sun inside of the planet. Its atmosphere is mostly carbon dioxide, but it does have some sulfur dioxide clouds, which, when it rains, produces sulfuric acid. Does that sound like a fun place to go?
No, thank you.
Probably not a fun place to go. So then we also talked about a planet called Mercury. And Mercury is the planet closest to the sun. It fluctuates from positive 350 degrees to negative 350 degrees. No atmosphere. There is water found found frozen in the shadows of the craters. And so Mercury, fun place to live?
No.
Not a very fun place to live, yeah. So we learned about Mercury. Then we learned a little bit about Mars. And Mars is the next planet closest to the Earth. It's between Earth and the asteroid belt. And Mars has craters on it. We think there might have been water on it, but now not so much water anymore. Very, very thin atmosphere. Its atmosphere is mostly carbon dioxide. It's very dry. No plants, no life. Fun place to live?
Someday.
Maybe, but we would have to do a lot of preparation in order to survive on this planet.
Yeah,
so
you have to have a suit just to go outside.
Absolutely.
I like going out to breathe.
Live indoors all your life, so that would be a little bit difficult. Another planet that we've talked about here is, I believe, Neptune. And if you recall, Neptune is blue because it has methane inside of it. And methane gives it that blue color. Also, the wind speeds on Neptune can go well over 1,000 miles an hour, even faster than that. Do you think you could stand up on Neptune?
I hate the wind we've had here lately, so no.
Probably not. All right. We also talked about our sun here too. Our sun obviously is not a place to live. That is a star, and very, very warm, very hot star. So not a fun place to visit. However, it does make our Earth. It's very essential for our Earth. So we'll kind of talk a little bit about the sun. And then lastly, we talked about Jupiter. Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system. It's a gas giant. Couldn't stand up on there. You'd kind of like be floating around in the clouds the whole time. Kind of cold because it's pretty far away from the sun. So, you like to exercise a little bit. Do you think without being able to stand or run around, you'd want to live on Jupiter?
Floating sounds fun, but probably not.
Probably not floating your whole life. So that probably not. So, guys, this is why as I bring up our Earth here, this is why I love our planet Earth. And our Earth is a beautiful place. Here is a live image of the Earth. We can see the clouds going on and everything. And so what I'd like to ask you, Colleen, to do is we're going to take a look at the Earth here. And I'd like to ask you, what do you notice, what do you observe on the Earth here?
Especially from this angle, it's a lot of blue. It's a lot of blue, some clouds. The clouds are definitely moving a lot, but...
So I'm going to ask you, what does that blue represent?
Water.
Water. Oh, over 70% of our Earth is covered in water. Now, what are those clouds made of?
Water.
Water! Awesome! So those clouds are water too. Do you think water is really important for the Earth?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. In fact, inside or kind of in the water there, we have all these land things on there. What do you notice about the land?
Most of it's green. Looks like Africa's coming around here. We've got some brown, yellowish type colors as well.
So what's the difference between the areas that's green and the areas that's brown?
I'm going to take a hunch here. The green is probably trees and greenery and grass and
Life,
life.
right?
Yeah.
That's cool that on this planet we can see life from space.
That's incredible.
That's pretty awesome, right? Now, what causes these things to grow? What do you need? What's the difference between the areas that are green and the areas that are brown?
Well, the one thing I was excited about is last night it rained. If you're in Colorado Springs, at least it rained, and everything was so green this morning. And it was so great. So obviously the water, the blue makes the green.
Interesting, water. So again, water is really, really important for this planet. It's important for life to survive, and that's a key component to life here. It's really important to study the water, what happens to the water. There's a number of things that NASA and NOAA have done to study water on the Earth. Okay, so let's take another look here at something else on the Earth. One of my favorite things to look at here is sea surface temperature. So let's take a look at the sea surface temperature of the Earth here. If I can find it, almost there.
And for those of you who just might be joining us, you can see we've got our planet, Earth, behind us, and that's what we are talking about in celebration of Earth Day, which is tomorrow.
Awesome. So you can see here, we've changed it to the sea surface temperature. So the reds and oranges are warm waters, the blues and purples are colder waters, and so you can see that the sea surface temperature, the temperature of the ocean, fluctuates as we go through the seasons here. If we bring up the real-time difference in that sea surface temperature here, hang on, almost there, right here. Now, the difference is you'll see that the reds on these are areas that are warmer than usual in the oceans, and the blues are colder than usual in the oceans. Now, Colleen, why would that matter? Why does it matter that the ocean is either warmer or colder than usual?
It can result in severe weather sometimes.
Yeah, severe weather. You see, there's a couple of things that you need in order for severe weather to happen. One is heat, one is humidity, and one is low pressure. And you can see if the oceans are warmer than normal, warmer than average, that provides both the heat and humidity to cause severe weather. So scientists are really interested in studying the sea surface temperatures, and in fact, if the sea surface temperatures are warmer or cooler than usual. Okay? So it's really important to take a look at that. You can see, especially in the northern part right now, the northern hemisphere, that was back in October of last year, much warmer than normal. And let's fast forward to April 4th is the latest data for this, and we can see still pretty warm in the northern hemisphere here, and especially close to the coast there. So very interesting for scientists to study for severe weather.
That's really, really awesome to be able to see that from. It's a little bit different than when you get it on the news.
Right.
And that's what I love about this year is when we see the weather there, it makes sense when you get such a bigger picture here, like you were saying, around the coast down there in the Gulf, to see all the heat in that area.
Yeah, that's right. So we can see that the ocean temperatures contribute to weather. We have our world is dependent on water. Every person that I know of lives on this planet. And
you too.
You too. So it's really important that if we want to keep living on this planet, if we want to keep this planet really beautiful and green and healthy, that we want to take care of it. We want to take care of the water. We want to take care of the temperature of the atmosphere and temperatures of the oceans. And so it's really important for us to study the earth and learn how we can have better stewardship of our planet.
I think it's important for us to take care of it. 'Cause right now it is the only one we have. We said Mars maybe someday, and we talked a lot about that a few weeks ago, but right now this is it.
Yes.
Not many other options out there right now. Taking care of it is the option.
Good. Now, one of the things I think we're going to talk about a little bit later, but I want to talk about right now, there's a number of missions that NASA and NOAA like to do in order to study the Earth. One of them is called GPM. It's called the Global Precipitation Measurement Mission. And GPM is a great little satellite that orbits around the Earth and can look and see the different kinds of precipitation that occurs on the Earth and where it occurs on the Earth.
That's cool.
There's other satellites. One is called Landsat that studies how the land changes. There's also a couple of them. There's one called Jason. So kind of funny names. But there's many different satellites that their job is to study the Earth and to see how we can better understand the Earth. Now there's a number of internet resources I would like to encourage you guys to go to find out more information about these planets. Colleen's going to post these on Facebook here in just a little bit. But a couple of these is, of course, NASA and looking at their different missions. That's important. I mentioned NOAA a couple times. That's not the guy that built the Ark. That is the National Oceanic and Atmosphere Administration. And they're responsible for studying the ocean and the atmosphere of the Earth. They have some incredible resources as well. With tomorrow being Earth Day, you can find out more information on earthday.org. And then there's one more government organization called USGS, United States Geological Survey. If you Google USGS and also the word explore, there's a whole number of internet sites you can go to where you can see satellite images of the Earth. You can see satellite images of weather, of the ground, all different really cool stuff. And so I encourage you to explore more about these web resources that we're going to give you here on Facebook.
Awesome. That's always really cool. And one thing that I think is important to note is you mentioned NOAA. And when I was in middle school, I think we actually went to NOAA, which is up in Boulder, here in Colorado as well. They have an office there, and that's where we get a lot of the weather stuff. So if you pay attention when you watch a forecast or the Weather Channel, at times it'll have the little NOAA icon in the bird. And NOAA is actually responsible for the Science on the Sphere, which we have behind us here. It's something they created, correct?
Correct. So NOAA is the organization that helps to maintain science on spheres and helps to put in science on spheres around the world. And these images come from satellites that NOAA has helped to put up into space.
And I just think that's really cool, and it's right here in our backyard. And a lot of people don't know Colorado is actually huge in aerospace as well. And we don't always think about it because we're the landlocked state. We think of the Californias, the Texas, and the Floridas, but we have a lot of that right here in our own backyard.
A lot of great resources here in Colorado for space. So, do we have any questions?
We do. We've gotten some great questions. Our first one is from Kate Barger, and she asked us, she said, I'm just one person. How can I make an impact?
That is a great question. In fact, I got a fun little display for you here. Let me bring that up here real quick. I have a data set that looks at, well, I'm going to let you guess what this is, Colleen.
All right.
Here is a data set with a bunch of white lines. Let me rotate this a little bit more so that you can see those lines. Wow, look at all those white lines here. Oh, in fact, you can kind of see countries if you look close enough. Continents and countries. Colleen, what do you think these white lines represent?
Well, being the social media girl, I'm going to take a guess here, and I'm going to say that's Facebook friendships.
What? You think these are Facebook friendships? Well, you're absolutely right. So this represents all of the connections, all of these Facebook friends that are around the world. And if you notice, each line represents one person in the world being friends with or connecting with someone else on Facebook in another place in the world. And we just draw a line to connect those, and you can see all around the world, so many connections. So as one person, even though you are just one person that lives on the earth, you are connected to so many other people here on the earth. And together, as a social entity, we can talk more about taking care of our planet. We can share resources with each other. And so I encourage you, even if you're just one person, to reach out to those that you're connected to and ask them, what are you doing to help take care of our planet Earth? So we are a connected Earth, and we need to use each other to make an impact over the whole world.
And the one thing I think is so incredible with this is, I think personally there's two things that unite us all. One is social media, because I mean this is incredible. I love how you can see the outlines of the countries, and it's so incredible to see that, you know, I'm one line, and you know, I have all these lines that go to my friends, and I've got friends in Australia and, you know, overseas, and so it's really neat. But then there's space too, because it's something that we all get to look up and see the stars. We may have a different set of stars we see each night, but it unites us all. And you know, it's like chain letters from, you know, back in the day. You do one, you get two people to do it, they get two people to do it, and then it makes it so easy to become that one person to make a difference. So that was definitely one of my favorite maps.
Absolutely.
That we've got up there, because it really shows so much.
And here's one more, just a bonus data set for you guys. This represents all the cities around the world. So I'll let you kind of take a look and see where people live around the world while we go to the next question.
So our next question comes from Slade Bradbelly, and he asked us, why do we study Earth from space? I mean, we're already here on the ground. Can't we just learn more from touching it and feeling it?
It's a great question. So obviously we live on the Earth, so it's a hard task to understand what's called the big picture. And it's hard to see how large systems work together. So in order to see large systems, in order to see the whole world in one chunk, we need to step back. We need to get back from it. And that's what satellites allow us to do. I mentioned GPM earlier. I'd like you to go through a thought exercise here. How do we collect rainwater? How do we measure how much rain comes down?
You know, I've always kind of wondered that. I do it with a rain bucket.
There you go. A rain bucket or a rain gauge. And that's how meteorologists do it. They use rain gauges around the world and around the city to see how much rain or precipitation there is. Now, how do we measure how much rain dumps in the Pacific Ocean?
I don't know.
How do we measure how much rain falls in the Amazon rainforest?
I don't know.
We don't know. So we need a satellite that can see this from space and measure for us how much precipitation falls in these areas. It can also tell us what kind of precipitation it is too. So we can see if there's a storm coming towards Colorado Springs, is it going to drop snow? Is it going to drop rain? Is it going to drop hail? So using space assets, using satellites, we can see a lot of information about our Earth that we wouldn't normally be able to see coming. So satellites are very important for us to get the big picture and to see, to kind of forecast what's coming our way.
Very cool. And our last question today comes from Kara Barbarian. And this is a question I had as well, because as we've been talking about all the planets, they're all named for gods. And so they all have a Greek and a Roman counterpart, but I've never heard of a god named Earth. So Kara and I want to both know, where does Earth get its name from?
That is a great question. And you know, I don't know much either, right? So Earth, as long as mankind has been here, we've lived on this planet. So my guess is it goes back to probably the first guy maybe tripped, fell down, and said, Earth. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. So,
That's the best answer.
Yeah, there you go. Earth. So also scientists think that the name Earth kind of has some Germanic origins or some Germanic roots. And so a lot of languages around the world share this common Earth-type name. And so Earth has kind of been around since we started developing languages. So we don't know for sure, but it is the common word that a lot of languages share.
And that's awesome, because I don't know why, I was actually watching Armageddon not too long ago, and you know, when they're on the asteroid, it has an earthquake. And it's funny because it's like, well, is it really an earthquake? Because Earth is a planet, is an asteroid quake. You know, when we go to Mars, will it be Mars quake? So
Right.
Anyway, that's a whole other question there, but yeah, it's something that I always wondered about, when I was younger. It kind of means multiple things. It's what's under us, but it's the earth and still
Describes
under
a
us.
lot. Describes a lot.
So it's interesting. So that's what we've got for you today about Earth. So celebrate Earth today, celebrate Earth tomorrow for Earth Day, but celebrate it every day. We talked about one person can make a difference, so you can be that person to go out there and make a difference. We're going to be back in 2 weeks, and I'm going to ask Elias to put a little special something up here behind us. We are going to be back on Thursday, May the 4th. That might be a special day for some of you. So what I want you to do is turn on notifications, make sure you know when we're going live, so make sure to visit the Space Foundation page on Facebook, turn those notifications on. And then what I want you to do after that is send us your questions for an iconic space station that you see behind us here. So what questions do you have about this bad boy?